She spent 5 years dreaming about him, imagining the moment he would finally see her. But when it finally happens, he looks at her and calls her another woman's name. Not just any woman. His dead wife. Now answer this. Do you stay, or do you run? London breathes differently at night. Lights shimmer across the water near Tower Bridge. But not everything that shines is alive. Some people stopped living years ago. Emmanuel is one of them. 6 years ago, he lost his wife. Since then, he hasn't loved. He hasn't tried. He hasn't moved on. And somehow, no one has been able to change that. Until now. Selena is everything the world admires. Fame. Beauty. Power. From Enugu to the spotlight of the United Kingdom. She walks into rooms, and conversations stop. Men notice her. Women study her. But there is one man who never looked twice. Emmanuel. And that is exactly why she wants him. Tell me, why do we always want the one person we cannot have? Flashback. A quiet audition room. Selena stands in front of Emmanuel for the first time. Hopeful. Prepared. Vulnerable. He watches her performance, expressionless. No smile. No reaction. No interest. Just a simple nod. And a cold. Next. That moment should have ended everything. But instead, it became the beginning of an obsession. 5 years later, their worlds collide again. Not in an audition room, but at an exclusive industry gathering near Big Ben. Selena enters, and the room shifts. Cameras follow her. Whispers rise. And across the room, Emmanuel sees her. This time, he doesn't look away. But he doesn't smile either. So what changed? Their eyes meet. Seconds stretch longer than they should. Selena walks toward him, controlled, confident. She has imagined this moment too many times. But something feels off. Emmanuel isn't surprised to see her. He isn't impressed either. It's almost like he was expecting her. Now ask yourself, how do you impress someone who already sees through you? Their words are polite, careful, measured. But underneath, there is tension. Selena leans in slightly. Her voice softer. Her presence intentional. Every move calculated. Every glance deliberate. She is no longer the girl in the audition room. She is the woman men chase. But Emmanuel does not chase. He observes. And that unsettles her. Then it happens. A slip. A mistake. Or maybe, the truth. He looks directly at her. And calls her by another name. Not just any name. His wife's name. The woman who died 6 years ago. Silence. The air changes instantly. Selena freezes, but only for a second. Then she smiles. Smooth. Controlled. Untouched. But inside, something cracks. Because in that moment, she realizes something terrifying. She is not being seen. She is being remembered. That night changes everything. Selena goes home, but she doesn't rest. She studies him. His interviews. His patterns. His silence. She begins to understand. This is not a man who resists love. This is a man who replaced it with something else. So she adapts. If he is unavailable, she becomes unreachable. If he is distant, she becomes unpredictable. If he is emotionally locked, she becomes the key. Or at least, she tries to. Days later, they meet again at Hyde Park. No cameras. No audience. Just silence and tension. Selena is different now. Less obvious. More dangerous. She laughs, but not too much. Speaks, but not too freely. Leaves gaps, just enough to pull him in. And for the first time, Emmanuel responds. Not fully. Not openly. But enough to notice. And that small reaction feels like victory. But is it? Later that evening, Emmanuel watches an old video. His wife, smiling, alive. Then suddenly, he pauses. Rewinds. Pauses again. Because for a brief second, Selena's face flashes in his mind. And that has never happened before. Not once in 6 years. Now something is changing. But change does not always mean healing. Sometimes it means something is about to break. Selena believes she is getting closer. Emmanuel feels something shifting. But neither of them understands what is really happening. Because buried beneath attraction and hidden beneath grief is a truth neither of them is ready for. And when it surfaces, it won't just change their story. It will destroy everything they think they know. So tell me, is Selena falling in love with a man? Or walking straight into a life she doesn't fully understand? Something has shifted. Not loudly, not suddenly, but in a way that cannot be ignored. Emmanuel starts noticing her. Not just her presence, but her absence. Selena no longer tries too hard. She appears, then disappears. Speaks, then withdraws. Smiles, then becomes unreadable. And for the first time in years, Emmanuel feels something unfamiliar. Curiosity. But curiosity can be dangerous. Because sometimes it opens doors that were never meant to be touched. Selena stops chasing. And that's when everything changes. Emmanuel starts asking questions. Where has she been? Why hasn't she called? Who has she been with? Questions he has no right to ask. But still, he asks. Selena notices. And quietly, she smiles. Because now, he is the one leaning forward. But here's the twist. The moment she gains control, something inside her begins to feel uneasy. Because Emmanuel doesn't behave like a man falling in love. He behaves like a man remembering something. One evening, he invites her over. No assistants. No cameras. No distractions. Just him and her. His house is quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that feels preserved. Untouched. Selena walks in, slowly. Her eyes scanning everything. And then she sees it. A photograph. A woman. Beautiful. Elegant. Frozen in time. His wife. Still placed at the center of his home. Like she never left. Now think about this. How do you compete with someone who still lives in the room? Dinner is set. 2 plates. 2 glasses. But something feels wrong. Selina notices a 3rd chair. Slightly pulled out. Like someone used to sit there. Like someone still does. She says nothing. But her mind starts racing. Emmanuel speaks calmly. Almost too calmly. Telling stories. But never finishing them. Smiling. But never fully present. And then, he does it again. He calls her by his wife's name. Not once. But twice. This time, it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels intentional. Selina leaves that night, unsettled. Not scared. Not yet. But something doesn't sit right. Because this is no longer about attraction. This is something deeper. Something hidden. She starts asking questions. Quietly. Carefully. And what she finds doesn't make sense. The accident. Everyone said it was tragic. Unavoidable. Instant. But details are missing. Reports feel incomplete. Timelines don't align. And the deeper she looks, the more it feels like something was covered. Now ask yourself, why would anyone hide the truth about a death? Emmanuel suggests a trip. Away from London. Away from everything. To the quiet beauty of Lake District. Selina agrees. But not for the reason he thinks. She wants answers. And sometimes, the truth reveals itself in silence. The lake is still. The air is calm. Too calm. Selina watches him closely now. Every movement. Every word. Every pause. And she begins to notice patterns. He talks to himself, sometimes. Whispers, when he thinks she's not listening. And once, she hears him say her name. Not Selina. The other name. Again. But this time, there is emotion in it. Pain. Guilt. Fear. Late one night, Selina can't sleep. Something pulls her. A feeling she cannot ignore. She walks through the house quietly. And finds a locked room. She hesitates. Then opens it. Inside, everything is untouched. Clothes. Shoes. Perfume. Like someone just stepped out and never came back. But that's not what stops her. It's the journal. Hidden. Personal. Unfinished. She opens it. And what she reads changes everything. The accident was not supposed to happen. There was an argument. A fight. Voices raised. Emotions lost. And then, silence. The final entry ends abruptly. No closure. No explanation. Just one sentence. I didn't mean for this to go this far. Selina's hands tremble. Because now, this is no longer a love story. This is something else entirely. Rely. The next morning, Selina looks at Emmanuel differently. Not with desire. Not with admiration. But with questions. Dangerous questions. And Emmanuel notices. Of course he does. Because he has been watching her. Just as closely. Now the tension shifts. It's no longer about who wants who. It's about who knows what. Selina wanted his attention. Now she has it. But not in the way she imagined. Because the man she thought was emotionally unavailable might be hiding something far more complicated than grief. And now she faces a choice. Keep digging. Or walk away before she uncovers something she cannot escape. So tell me, if the truth about someone you love could destroy you, would you still want to know it? The truth is no longer hiding. It's breathing, watching, waiting. Selena knows something now. Something she was never supposed to find. And Emmanuel, he knows she knows. No words have been spoken. But everything has changed. Because silence can be louder than confession. Selena tries to act normal. Smiles when she has to. Speaks when necessary. But inside, her thoughts are racing. Every memory now feels different. Every moment, suspicious. Was he grieving? Or hiding? Was she falling in love? Or walking into a trap? And Emmanuel, he becomes softer. Kinder. More attentive. Almost like the man she wanted him to be. But now, it feels wrong. Because timing changes everything. They return to the city. But London feels different now. The lights near Tower Bridge no longer look beautiful. They look distant. Cold. Selena walks beside him. But her mind is somewhere else. Piecing things together. The argument. The silence. The unfinished journal. And one question she cannot escape. What really happened that night? It doesn't explode. It unfolds. Quietly. Dangerously. Selena finally speaks. Not loudly. Not emotionally. But directly. She asks him about the journal. The argument. The last night. Emmanuel listens. Doesn't interrupt. Doesn't deny. Doesn't defend. And then, he smiles. Not warmly. Not kindly. But like a man who has been expecting this moment. He tells her the truth. Or at least, part of it. There was a fight. A bad one. Words were said that couldn't be taken back. His wife left the house, angry. Distracted. And then, the accident happened. That's what everyone believes. That's what he allowed them to believe. But here's where it changes. He admits something else. Something small. But heavy. He followed her. That night. He was there. Closer than anyone knew. Now think about this. Why would a man hide the fact that he was present when his wife died? Selena pushes further. Because something still doesn't add up. And then, it slips. Not intentionally. Not clearly. But enough. There was no immediate help. No urgency. No attempt to save her. Just hesitation. Seconds that turned into minutes. Minutes that turned into loss. And suddenly, everything becomes clear. This wasn't just an accident. It was a moment. A choice. A delay. That changed everything. Selena steps back. Not dramatically. But slowly. Like someone realizing the ground beneath them isn't stable. Because now she understands. He didn't plan it. He didn't cause it. But he didn't stop it either. And that truth is heavier than guilt. But here's the part she didn't expect. Emmanuel looks relieved. Not exposed. Not afraid. Relieved. Like a man who has finally been seen. Completely. And accepted what he is. Now ask yourself. What is more dangerous? A man hiding his darkness? Or a man who has made peace with it? Selina stands at a crossroads. Everything she wanted is right in front of her. His attention. His vulnerability. His truth. But also his darkness. Because loving him now means understanding him. And understanding him means accepting what happened. So she must decide. Stay. And become part of his unfinished story. Or leave. And finally choose herself. The clock keeps moving near Big Ben. Time doesn't stop for love. Or guilt. Or regret. Selina walks away. But not quickly. Not easily. Because some connections do not break cleanly. And Emmanuel, he doesn't chase her. He doesn't call her back. He simply watches. The same way he did from the beginning. Days later, Selina receives a message. No name. No explanation. Just a single line. You never asked what really happened after I found her. And suddenly, the story isn't over. Because some truths don't reveal themselves all at once. They wait patiently until you're ready to hear them. So tell me, if walking away isn't he give you peace? Would you go back? Even if it means uncovering something worse than the truth you already know. Some endings don't end. They wait. Quietly. Patiently. Until you're pulled back in. Selina tried to walk away. She told herself it was over. That whatever existed between her and Emmanuel was too heavy to carry. But then the message came. Short. Direct. Unsettling. You never asked what really happened after I found her. And just like that, closure disappeared. London feels colder this time. The lights around Tower Bridge no longer distract her. They expose her thoughts. Because now, she isn't running toward him. She's walking back into the unknown. Selina meets Emmanuel again. No tension. No performance. Just truth, waiting to be spoken. He doesn't delay this time. No fragments. No half stories. Just honesty. Raw. Unfiltered. That night, after the argument, after the crash, he found her. Alive. Breathing, but fading. And in that moment, everything slowed down. Not time. Him. Because for a second, a single, quiet, dangerous second, he didn't move. Not out of hate. Not out of anger. But out of something worse. Exhaustion. A moment where love and pain collided. And he froze. By the time he reacted, it was too late. Selina says nothing. Because what do you say to that? He didn't kill her. But he didn't save her either. And somehow, that feels heavier. Now think about this. Can you love someone knowing they failed the person they once loved. Selena doesn't leave. Not immediately. Not this time. Instead, she sits with him. Not as a woman chasing love, but as someone who finally understands the weight he carries. And something shifts. Not attraction. Not obsession. But recognition. Because Emmanuel is no longer a mystery. He is a man who broke in a moment he cannot undo. Days pass. Then weeks. And something unexpected happens. Emmanuel changes. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. But genuinely. He starts letting go. Not of his wife, but of the guilt that chained him to her memory. And Selena. She stops trying to replace someone who cannot be replaced. Instead, she becomes something new. Something real. But here's the question. Is this healing? Or just another illusion? One evening, under the quiet rhythm of the city near Big Ben, Emmanuel speaks. Not with hesitation. Not with fear. But with certainty. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He doesn't ask for understanding. He asks for something simpler. A future. With her. Selena knows what this means. Loving him is not easy. It never will be. Because she is not just loving a man. She is loving his past. His guilt. His silence. His truth. And still, she says yes. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. They leave the United Kingdom together. Not as two broken people, but as two people choosing to move forward. Emmanuel follows her. Not into fame. Not into comfort. But into her roots. Into her story. Into a place far from everything he knows. Enugu State. The air is different here. Warmer. Louder. Alive. Selena is no longer the distant star. She is home. And Emmanuel. He sees her in a way he never did before. Not as a memory. Not as a replacement. But as herself. Fully. Completely. And for the first time. He doesn't compare. The village gathers. Voices rise. Laughter fills the air. Colors. Culture. Celebration. A love story, witnessed by more than just two people. It's not quiet. It's not controlled. It's alive. Their traditional marriage unfolds in Enugu, where love is not hidden. It is declared. And Emmanuel stands there. Not as a man trapped in the past, but as a man choosing the present. The journey continues to Lagos State. This time, more formal, more structured. A court wedding. Simple. Direct. Binding. No ghosts. No shadows. Just two names. Signed into one future. Love didn't find them easily. It didn't come clean. It didn't come safe. It came with truth. With risk. With SCRs. But somehow, it stayed. And maybe that's what makes it real. Because even now, there's a question that never fully disappears. Not spoken. Not answered. Just present. If that moment had been different. If he had moved faster. Would this story even exist? Or was everything always leading here? So tell me, can a love built on a painful truth still become something beautiful? Or does the past always find a way back?